They're called American heroes, men and women who sacrifice their lives in situations that we can't and sometimes just really don't want to imagine. And that's why one Northwest Florida prison adopted a veteran rehabilitation program.
News 4's Courtney Crown spoke exclusively with inmates in this program. And Courtney, how are those facilities actually working to help these inmates?
The prison's warden understands the hardships of war and the negative impacts it can have on those fighting. Veterans I spoke with say it's a driving force in keeping them on the right track. When Alan Tatum signed up to serve, he didn't think it would be behind bars. The Army veteran has been in prison since 2008 for assault.
Somewhere along the line, dropped the ball, forgot about all of those things, and they refocused.
Now, with 10 months left in his sentence, Tatum is working on leaving the old him in the K-dorm cell block at Santa Rosa's CI.
I'm 53 years old. I'm service-connected, disabled veteran. And it's time to make a change.
He found that change in the Veterans Reentry Program. And instead of being a common inmate with a prisoner number and a blue jumpsuit, in this circle, Tatum goes by Sergeant Major. He's taken on the role of a platoon leader of sorts for the men in the veterans dorm. Men like Robert Dawson, a former Navy man now teaching business classes to other inmates.
It gets you focused on taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, and going back into society and making yourself a positive success in society and not coming back here and having that turnaround rate. We want to keep it low, and luckily we've had that here.
The prison offers drug and alcohol recovery, mental counseling, and even personal growth courses.
We get to do certain classes, like right now I'm in the Gavel Club, which is like a part of Toastmasters International, which helps us with public speaking.
But these carefully designed programs stay within these prison walls. What happens when the veteran inmates go back into the society they once protected? That's a question for Stacy Ray from Families Count in Santa Rosa.
Miss Ray and her organization, they're God sent. You know, they working wonders.
Ray works with the veterans serving the last 6 months of their sentences. Her program assigns each veteran a case manager that helps with employment and accessing VA benefits.
So far, everyone that has exited, that has come into the Supportive Services for Veteran Families program has been successful. They're all employed or receiving some type of disability.
Tatum, Dawson, and many other imprisoned veterans are ready to be a part of a new statistic, one that symbolizes hope, redemption, and perseverance. Their past decisions took them from the battlefield to the prison yard. Navy blues are traded in for stiff blue cotton jumpsuits. Instead of protecting others, they are now the ones under constant surveillance.
The incentive is to help you get skills to help you succeed on the outside so you don't come back.
We are Americans and members of a team. We serve the people of the United States. Although we've had a setback and fallen into incarceration, our mission is to move forward.
And a particular program that drives the inmate veterans at Santa Rosa CI is Thinking for a Change. This includes training in social skills and behavioral thinking.
Thanks, Courtney. So good to see them really trying to turn their lives around. And another great fact of all this, since the veterans dorm opened there in 2011, 100% of those inmates released have not returned to prison.
That's a great statistic.
It is wonderful, very promising. Letting go and letting God. Some Florida prisoners are finding faith while they're behind bars. News 4's Courtney Crown talked with some Panhandle inmates who are turning their lives around one prayer at a time. And she joins us now in our studio. Courtney?
Tessa, 112 inmates at Jackson Correctional Institution in Malone, Florida, have chosen to give up their negative past for a spiritual future. They say it's a challenging but worthwhile journey.
Thank God for Bibles.
A jail cell is probably the last place you'd look for a Bible, but they are a staple in the faith and character-based program at Jackson Correctional Institution. For the inmates, Bible verses spell out a roadmap to a better future.
My belief and understanding and trusting in God in such a way, in such a manner that I know that this is what I depend on.
Kerry Hayes may never see life outside of the prison's campus, but he says he doesn't feel trapped by the bars.
I have a spiritual freedom inside that overwhelms me when it comes to the acknowledgement of physical freedom.
Hayes says the facility is a saving grace, keeping him focused on his future and not the amount of time he is facing.
Frankly, all day. Sometimes at night, I'm still reading.
Hayes keeps it with him all the time, often looking to its pages for strength. Verses and chapters are color-coded and highlighted to keep him on the right path. It's a bond he shares with other inmates in the faith and character-based program. Men like Lee Johnson, who also knows he may never get to worship with the rest of society.
We have a few lifers. The lifers, I'm a lifer myself. I wasn't built with user-friendly. All right, when God ran me across the line, he didn't put it in there.
Johnson is a facilitator in one of the 2 faith-based dorms at Jackson. He leads programs 4 times a week.
It's taken the rough edges off. It's allowed me to communicate. It's allowed me to be much more understanding.
Classes include commitment to change, parole plans, and chapel. A victim impact program helps solidify their commitments. Victims are brought in to share their stories and how they were affected.
It brings a lot of pain. You go through different variations of fear, shame, control, anger, because they get to realize some of the stuff that they caused.
Inmates have to complete 1,580 hours within a year. They focus on marriage, family, and self-help to make them better men, both in and outside of prison.
When you put 500-600 hours in a program, a quarter,
yeah.
All right, if you're dumb as a box of rocks and you won't want to learn, you're going to pick something up.
The commitment and perseverance to changing their lives is helping them change the way they think.
The major thing that has changed is streamline my religious beliefs. It's allowed me to understand that the world doesn't owe me anything, and for all intents and purposes, I owe the world.
The faith and character-based program at Jackson Correctional Institution began in April of this year. Tessa?
Wow, it's pretty impactful stuff there, Courtney. And here's another good thing. Less than 10% of the inmates that go through Florida's faith and character-based programs return to prison.
Serving their prison sentence is only a part of the battle for some former inmates.
News 4's Courtney Crown spoke with some ex-convicts about what they're doing to stay on the right track. She joins us now in our studio with what they had to say about it. Courtney.
Well, Tessa and Reg, it's a group we introduced you to in September that has left their old life where it needs to stay, in the past. Members of the Heaven's Way Biker Church not only keep themselves on the straight and narrow, but they push each other. The old you, what was he like?
Mean, drug dealer. I didn't have friends, I had clients. And I was a wife beater and I was mean.
Just always looking for a party to go to. Just always looking for that good time. Probably depressed. I didn't have anything in my life at the time that was really making me happy.
I used to live on adrenaline rush. By 12 o'clock on Friday night, be broke, so you just get out, make withdrawal from a couple of places. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me was being taken off the streets and going to prison.
Do you remember the day or night when it was all a turning point for you?
It was whenever the Trucks Judicial Drug Task Force busted our door in and took us to jail. Then really the turning point was after I had been in jail for a couple of weeks. I had been listening to the ladies from the ministry teams coming in, and I remember on March 9th, 2002, I got up that morning and I raised my hands and I said, Lord, I said, I give it up.
They tell me I'm gonna do 99 years in the penitentiary, so I pretty much thought my life was over. Cobb County Jail, a little short. Preacher would come every Thursday night, came and told me he had a message for me, and the message was from God that if I didn't change my ways, I was going to hell. I got saved in that jail cell.
The night the police knocked on the front door, come in there and wanted to talk to me. I knew it was up. Say I turned over a new leaf right away. No, it's hard, you know, giving up the drugs. My life is more full now and complete now.
What has kept you going on that new path?
You gotta lose all your old buddies, because they ain't your buddies. You gotta change everything, all your friends you've got to change. or you're not gonna make it.
Tried to get into my Bible and learn all that I could and just have a relationship with the Lord. I had never had one with him before.
I'm the one that did 32 years in prison straight. I go to church on Sundays and read my Bible and go to Sunday school.
If I can make it, anybody can. That's a fact.
What would you say to people who are skeptics of inmates getting back out into society?
Even an inmate with 32 years in a penitentiary can make it. You gotta remember, you're somebody in God's eyes. You're worth a lot to God. You can't let people put you down. You can't believe what they say. Everybody has good in them.
If you will be determined that you're going to make it and you make the right choices, anybody can make it.
Do you feel like Heaven's Way Biker Church is kind of a reentry program?
And when I got out, I started going to church again, out here to the biker church, and I've been coming out ever since.
When we come here, you know, you come as you are, who you are. It's a family. Got to have something to hold on to. And
if you want to call inmates, if they get out, best thing for them to do is go with God, believe in God, pray to God, and God will set you free.
These men and women have stayed out of prison, some for around 8 years, others for more than 30. They credit their faith in God and push from each other to keep moving forward.
It's very inspirational there to see that. Thank you, Courtney. And 87% of Florida inmates will be released back into society during their lifetimes. Florida's recidivism rate is currently at an all-time low.